Then we'll see further showers across much of the country, driest across the east before further spells of rain come in to the west. And that's a similar picture on Tuesday and Wednesday. Dry, mixed with sunny spells, but generally temperatures highs of 21.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It has plenty of room for your family of 4, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Headliners on GB News, 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour for a bunch of stories, including France has seized a British fishing boat. Is this a declaration of war? And why can't they do this with the small boats crossing the channel? And David Lammy is embroiled in a row over his bisexual flag. I'd tell him to shove it where the sun don't shine, but he'd probably just enjoy it, call himself flag-sexual, and need a special flag for that as well. And Miss England has quit after finding out the job involves being stared at. She's not Miss England, she's missed the point. I'm Leo Kearse, and tonight's comedians are Lewis, the Bronx bomber Schaefer,
Brooklyn,
and Nick,
Brooklyn,
the big dog Dixon. Are you from Brooklyn? I had no idea.
Brooklyn in the house.
This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Bethany Elsey.
Thank you. Here are your top stories at 11 o'clock. A man has been arrested on suspicion of murder
after a mother and 3 of her children died in a house fire in northwest London. Police were called to assist around 70 firefighters who were tackling the blaze on Tillet Close in Brent in the early hours of this morning. 2 homes were gutted by the flames. A 43-year-old woman, a 15-year-old girl and 2 boys aged 8 and 4 died at the scene. 2 others were taken to hospital. A 41-year-old man has been arrested. At least 15 people have been injured in Ukraine's capital in a major Russian missile and drone attack. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia launched 250 drones and 14 ballistic missiles against Kyiv, causing fires in residential buildings. It was one of the biggest combined aerial assaults on the city since the war began. The barrage came hours after Ukraine and Russia each exchanged more than 300 prisoners of war as part of a deal agreed after talks in Turkey. Israeli military says it's reviewing claims one of its airstrikes killed 9 children from the same family in southern Gaza. Nasser Hospital says the children's parents both work there as medics. Israel's defence forces say its aircraft struck what it called suspects, who were operating from a structure in the city. The country has stepped up its military operation in Gaza since early May, saying it's seeking to eliminate Hamas and bring back remaining hostages. French authorities have been condemned for detaining 2 British fishing boats in the English Channel. In the latest enforcement operation, a French patrol vessel intercepted and seized a UK trawler off the Baie de Somme for fishing without the required licence. The incident happened on Thursday, just hours after a record number of migrants, 825, crossed into the UK waters illegally. In an interview with GB News, the Shadow Home Secretary accused Sir Keir Starmer of selling out British fishermen and surrendering UK fishing rights to the EU. Sunderland have booked their place in the Premier League next season after beating Sheffield United 2-1 in the Championship playoff final. Fans painted Wembley red and white to celebrate the end of their 8-year wait to return to top-flight football. Super sub Tom Watson scored the winner in the 95th minute to seal a dramatic 2-1 comeback, the 19-year-old giving his team the ultimate parting gift before moving to Brighton next season. Arsenal have won the Women's Champions League for the second time, beating defending title holders Barcelona 1-0 in Lisbon. The Gunners last lifted the trophy 18 years ago as part of their quadruple winning season in 2007. They remain the only English side to have won it. And Aberdeen have won their Scottish Cup final after beating Celtic in a penalty shootout at Hampton Park. It's their first Scottish Cup triumph for 35 years. Those are your latest GB News headlines. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, where we give you the best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. First things first, let's see what the papers have in store for us on today's show. The Sunday Times leads with Mr. Bates versus the bureaucrats. Who will win? The Observer has Starmer to scrap child benefit cap. The Sunday Sun leads with I've made mistakes, but I'm not a bad guy. I don't recognise him. It's the guy from Strictly. The Sunday Telegraph has Farage to outflank Starmer on benefits. Farage is going to be more Labour than Labour. The Sunday Express has hell to pay if OAPs are left out in the cold. And the Star has ready, sweat, go. Saunas are making a comeback. And Lewis and Nick, how are you both doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you very much. We're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay, good.
I'm also feeling great. I felt really relieved lately. I don't know why. It's a feeling.
But yeah, it's like something... Life is a bit lighter.
Well, it's spring. We're moving into summer.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, even though the weather wasn't that good today.
OK, well, thank you for not talking about it. Shall we have a look at the front page of tomorrow's Sunday Telegraph, Lewis?
Well, good news. This is the Sunday Telegraph, which is £3.50 on Sunday, because today is Saturday, so tomorrow is Sunday.
Is that how days work?
Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, I'm explaining it and this is the Telegraph. And I love the Telegraph.
It's a Sunday Telegraph.
Sunday Telegraph. It's because it's on Sunday. But it's great because it's got so much news in columns. It reminds me of
Why don't you tell us some of the news that's on it?
The news is, number one, Farage to outflank Starmer on benefits. Reform leader pledges to reinstate winter fuel payments and to fully scrap two-child cap, which is if a mother has a child, she gets money. And so she could run. Basically, it's called mad money. That's what it was all about. It was the idea that that fathers are so bad they might not feed their kids.
Right.
So we're going to give money to the mothers. And
so this is child benefit. It's not just the mothers. I think if
try
you're raising,
getting it as a father.
You don't have to be but you don't have to be a single parent to get it. It goes to if you've got kids, you get child benefit. And there was a two-child cap. Some people have said that's Islamophobic. Can't comment on that. But Starmer and Farage have spoken about scrapping it. It's still in place under Labour.
Well, scrapping it means that they're going to give it to anybody you're going to have 10 kids, and they'd give you whatever it is a week or month.
It's not just the child benefit cap, it's winter fuel payments. Farage says he'd reinstate them. Now, Labour are probably going to do it anyway, but it's so funny to me because it's Farage going to the left, Starmer's gone to the right of him on immigration, but Ireland of strangers, and Farage is like, oh, that's my thing. So he's gone, all right, winter fuel payment, I'm the lefty now. And then Starmer's gone, we're going to castrate criminals. I don't know what to do. We'll have to, socialism. So now, I've always said Reform are not a right-wing party. I think this proves it. Keir Starmer is far right. He's our guy, Lewis.
Yes.
And Farage, our esteemed colleague, is far left.
Yeah, he's not making people happy. And my son, my beautiful son...
you point like it's me. It's not me.
Well, it's not you, but you would make...
And you also say it like you've got an ugly son.
Well, the one I'm saying he is ugly. There's one who's really good looking of my children. He's 6, he's like tall.
Did they know how that happened? Have you checked the DNA?
I'm waiting for the results to come back.
But Lewis, who's going to pay for these? I mean, the politicians always like to say, yeah, I'm going to give you free winter fuel, I'm going to give you free money for all the children you're going to have. But who's going to pay? The country's bankrupt. Last month we had a deficit in 1 month of over £20 billion.
Well, that makes 200 and something million pounds a year. That's a lot of money. And the truth is that Farage needs to muscle it up like Donald Trump, or maybe he doesn't. It was explained to me. It was that he can't do it because he can't muscle it up like Donald Trump and say, listen, we're doing it this way, whether you like it or not. And then he gets elected. I mean, he's afraid of not getting elected, so he's being really nice to people. We shouldn't... Mothers should not get any money. We should make the state rich, everybody in the state rich, and they won't have to go to the government for their £21 a week or whatever it is.
That's a great point. If we had a thriving private sector that wasn't being taxed into oblivion, people might be able to afford to feed their children with the money they earn themselves.
And that's what Farage should be saying, but he's not saying that.
I love how you polished up Lewis's point as if it was that coherent. He gave it like a prompt, and like an AI, you turned it into a beautiful scene.
I got the bitterness against his ex-wife, and I made a political point from it. There's also this story here, Nick, about Trump sending a free speech team to meet UK activists.
Oh, yeah. He sent US officials to meet British pro-life activists over concerns their freedom of speech has been threatened. We've heard about this before. People like J.D. Vance were very concerned about the buffer zones, which is an absurd law that stops you praying in your head near a clinic. And so, Trump's really worried about this. And we saw Charlie Kirk on this very channel talk about it and say that he was going to text Marco Rubio, which apparently has now happened, about the Lucy Connelly case as well. And it'd be very interesting to see because the US is trying to maintain principles. You might not, if you want to be really strict, you might not be able to say the US is going free speech and we've gone another way because they're not quite so free speech on issues like on-campus stuff in Harvard. Wherever you think of that, there is a counter-argument that they're not free speech, but they're going a different way. To me, they're going more towards old liberalism and Western allies like Israel, whereas the UK is going towards post-liberal authoritarianism and Palestine. So there is a whether you say it's free speech versus authoritarianism, whatever the divide is, however you characterise it, there is a divide. So it's very interesting to see that America might have to threaten us to keep up our free speech.
Yeah, and I think it's essential we keep our freedoms. I mean, it's not just for the essential human right of having free speech, but economically, free speech is tied into the economy. If you don't have free speech, you quite often don't have freedom to do whatever job you want, to start whatever business you want to do, to trade with whoever you want. So it's all tied together, and I think that's why Europe and Britain are lagging the United States.
Well, I think there's an interesting point. It isn't a free speech issue. It is are we standing for the country that we're in? That's what this is, this Lucy Connelly thing. Donald Trump is a nationalist. is not about free speech. It's about just, who's going to stand up for Britain? I think if we have to have Donald Trump stand up for this country.
Yeah, and we're seeing more pressure being brought on Starmer over Lucy Connelly. So, we've seen the early day motion brought in the House of Parliament. A lot of ministers have signed it, including a Labour minister, which is incredible, Nick, for somebody to split away from Labour's ranks and go against Keir Starmer.
Yeah, we just covered that, didn't we? And we were saying that's actually quite an old Labour thing to do, defend the working class. It's what Labour should be doing, but this new Labour, new Labour, doesn't do it. I think Lewis got it right. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't say Team World, but it's nationalism versus sort of globalism.
Team World, globalism.
And the Starmer, it's the post-liberal, quasi-authoritarian, international man of mystery, but human rights law obsessed, weird stuff versus the old-school nationalism of Trump.
Yeah, and if we read in the papers about somebody in China getting 31 months in jail because they tweeted, we'd be appalled in the United Nations. I'm sure would be raising it as an issue. And it's something that our government is doing right now. And it's not just Lucy Connelly. There are lots of people that have been convicted. Some have already served their sentences. I just think Lucy Connelly is the most visible one because obviously she's a young mother. Her daughter is deprived from seeing her mother.
For 3 years.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And because Starmer isn't here to defend himself, he would say that it's to do with incitement. But whether you think Lucy... But in my opinion, that surely doesn't meet the threshold for incitement, but he thinks it does. So.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also this story here about the seized British fishing boat.
Yeah. Do you want to do this or me? I don't know. I don't want to step on your... OK. So this was a outrage as France seizes British fishing boat. Pretty shocking. This vessel from Eastbourne that was detained in the Channel by a French naval ship days after Starmer surrenders UK fishing rights. That's the kind of spin the Telegraph has on it. The problem is it proves they can do it. It proves they can seize a boat. So why are you letting all the migrant boats... Go ahead. It's like, seize that one. They just couldn't resist, but they've exposed themselves. Yeah. Did you see, by the way, that thing the other day, that the Dunkirk boat was told to... The little boat that was commemorating Dunkirk was told to... It couldn't go across or whatever, but because of
they were escorting the migrant.
Yeah, there's so many layers of symbolism. It just broke my brain. It was insane.
It's not even that's symbolism.
Well, it's a symbolism of total decline. Everything we fought for.
It shows they can enforce the laws, but only against people who follow laws.
Yes,
if you're an illegal immigrant and you jump in a boat, they can't do it. They'll just help you. They'll save you. They'll rescue you. Give you a life jacket. Bring you back to shore. Bring you all the way to the UK. Put you in a hotel. The Royal Navy rescued the Manchester Arena bomber from Libya. We're helping people who then go on to hurt us. It's absolutely unsustainable.
It is.
It is symbolism because I said the levels of symbolism here have broken my brain and got 24,000 likes on Twitter. So it must be symbolism. Sorry, Leo.
Also, aren't we, Lewis? We're paying France lots of money, tens of millions of pounds
to do something
about the small boats, and they're not doing anything, but they can seize our fishing boats.
You want to hear the most amazing thing? Yeah. That thing for whatever it is for Dunkirk was sponsored by the Royal that Royal Lifeguard Institute. What is that called? The RNLI. But at the same time, the RNLI is spending all their time bringing people into the country.
Yeah.
So. What side are they on? Yeah. Are they on the Angles, the Saxons, the Picts, the
Jutes? There it is.
the Lancastrians, the Cumbrians.
Thank you.
The Geordies.
You can tick that off your Lewis Schaefer bingo card. Let's move on and have a look at the Sunday Times, Nick.
Sunday Times, and I'm totally across this. I wasn't at all put off by Lewis beforehand. It's trying to read it and you take your photographs. It's Mr. Bates versus the bureaucrats. This is Sir Alan Bates has accused the government of presiding over a quasi-kangaroo court. Can you imagine that? A system for post office scandal compensation.
Quasi-kangaroo court. Wasn't he the Chancellor?
Nice. I can't top that. That's brilliant. So he's been offered a take it or leave it deal, and he's annoyed because it's less than half what he was originally offered. It's 42.9%. Who'd have thought that after all that post office scandal, they wouldn't be completely fair about it? I mean, it's appalling. No, but he's a hero. He's been treated badly.
I'm on the side of the bureaucraats here, though, Lewis, because if they pay out maximum amounts of money to everybody who's got a claim, who I'm sure maybe some of them deserve it, but if they're going to splurge more money, that's our taxes. That's money we can't afford.
Which is why we should disembowel. Is that the right word?
Almost certainly not.
I'm against the post office. We don't need a post office. We don't need it run by the government.
You can take the letter yourself.
Hang on, you're against the post office. I knew that you thought water dehydrated you and that viruses don't exist, but you're against letters now.
I'm not against letters, but if you want to be...
Who delivers them?
Well, they could be Deutsche, whatever it is, Deutsche Post, whatever the company are.
You just want private.
I want it private.
I think you've got to move
That's
to
fair
Berlin
enough.
to get Deutsche
No,
Post.
it's fair.
No,
Amazon
it's here. I think
arrives sometimes before you order it, whereas post office takes longer. Right?
And there'll be some, let's say we need somebody. I'm sure Amazon will come in and say, we'll deliver the mail, and they'll do a damn good job because it's run by America.
Such an capitalist American.
Well, shall we look at some stories inside the papers? We've got the Express now with a Labour bigwig in a bisexual controversy. And incredibly, it's not Keir Starmer, Lewis.
Yes, this is David Lammy embroiled in bisexual flag row. Is it a row or row?
It's a row.
Row. I said it the right way. I said it the English way. As Foreign Office accused of breaking laws. So the David Lammy's been like criticised by the Conservatives, the Tories. Do you remember them? They were a political party in the 1900s.
Yeah, they're the fourth biggest party in the country.
The fourth biggest party.
Hey, that's pretty good.
You know what the name for the Tories is now?
No.
The New Liberal Democrats.
Nice.
That's a joke. I made that up.
Yeah, it's not
it's
not that bad.
Yeah, this seems like a bit of a non-story. So the Tories accused David Lammy of not getting the proper planning permission to fly a flag.
Two flags.
This is really good, Leo. This is the Tories getting stuck into the culture war, a mere 12 years too late. After saying repeatedly, we don't want to get into divisive culture or stoking divisive culture wars. After pushing woke and all this garbage on us, they've now realised, oh no, votes and stuff.
We've made a mistake.
And guess who they're copying? They're copying reform because they had the thing about not flying flags on councils other than the national flag. And then everyone said, what about local flags? Yeah, OK, as well. So they're just copying reform.
But instead of doing it in a sort of, in a cool way, like waving a flag like Mel Gibson did in Braveheart, they seem to be doing it in a pedantic, bureaucratic way, you know, complaining about planning permission. It's not very cool. Anyway, coming up, the Treasury has been told to find another $3.5 billion from down the back of the sofa, and we've got more front pages. We've got the Observer. That's also got the benefit cap with a picture of UK Aesthetics Britain. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Well, we're talking about holidays now and how not to pay too much for them. Because I think the thing is, a lot of people are saying, oh, we're going to go on holidays, and then they look and they say, really, can we afford it?
Yeah.
And if people pushed the boat out last year, they may be finding that this year they just can't do it because it definitely is more expensive. Hayley Sparks joins us in the studio now to tell us the tricks of the trade. And you feel, Hayley, that all is not lost. You think if you shop around, you apply a few tricks, you can do OK for yourself?
Yeah, I definitely love to share some of my tips with the viewers because everybody deserves a holiday, but with the cost of living, we want to kind of see where we can save money. So one of my biggest tips would be to use a travel consultant. They work for you for free, so there's no cost to the consumer. But what I didn't realise till I joined the travel industry is about 60% of the world's holidays are trade only, so you wouldn't find them online. So if you work with a professional, they can help do all the research for you. So some of the hotspots at the moment, Poland, for example, is one of the most affordable European destinations. Other really up-and-coming destinations, you've got places like Albania, Bulgaria, great alternatives to Greece. You've only got to have a look online at the stunning coastlines. And another top tip to consider is a cruise. Now, people often think, wow, cruises, you think luxury, you think, you know, sort of bucket list, but that is not the case. The cruise market is so extensive. So there's great budget entry-level cruise lines, which are fantastic for families. You know what you're paying for. There's no hidden charges. And different brands like MSC, for example, they'll do single-parent discounts.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/yoursay and hope there's some comments I can read out without getting in trouble. Clive Fox says Starmer is a lawyer, so he uses lawfare and twists words as if in court. Who trusts a lawyer to be interested in justice? They are just about winning and optics for their career. Well, we all know where Starmer's career is going. Yeah, I think if Starmer was worried about optics, he might be doing a bit better regarding optics. Fred Burton says Headliners 3 out of 3. That's not a review, that's us.
Good, yeah, not 10.
Not 3 out of 10.
Right.
All three of us showed up.
Which would still be above average. Anyway, let's have a look at some more front pages. We've got The Observer here, Lewis.
This is The Observer, which is The Guardian, which is £4.20 tomorrow. It's 70 cents more than The Guardian.
Actually, The Observer has been sold to Tortoise Media, so I'm not sure if it is part of The Guardian anymore.
Stop giving out misinformation, Lewis.
Yeah.
That's not like
I
you.
don't even know. It isn't like me. Well, I did.
What's the story on the front? Should we just move on and look at that?
It's not that interesting. I don't understand it either, because I don't have kids. Whenever I see something about children, I just glaze over.
Well, let me explain what it is.
Okay.
Starmer to scrap child benefit cap. They back in the day, they said women need money for their kids. They shouldn't have to ask their husband if he's drunk, because all husbands are drinking. If he doesn't care about the kids, the mother's not going to get children. So we'll give her a little bit, not enough. But it's become more and more. If they have 8 kids, you could basically live on that. Maybe not live on that, but it could be something.
Yeah, and yeah, some people do work this system. And I'm Scottish. Yeah. I've seen it firsthand, believe it or not, how people play the benefit system and drag their kids around various doctors until they finally get them diagnosed with something. It's great to see you, Nick. And
because we were talking about that. But the point is, you just can be just a normal kid. You don't even have to be a messed up kid. A normal kid with a normal mother who works. Let's say she works. Yeah. She still gets the money.
Yeah. Well, I think child benefit used to not be means tested. Is it? I think it is means tested now. And it seems to be something, if you're going to give it out, give it to everybody. So even, middle class people can get a little taste of the pie.
Is the danger that, well, it's just two arguments, isn't it? One is that you're disincentivizing people having kids when we desperately need them. We've got a 1.4 birth rate when we need it to be like 2.5.
Yeah.
But the other argument is what you said, that it's just people milking the system.
Yeah.
So it's, we want the right kind of people to have children. You know what I mean? Like people like Lewis Schaefer, who wear ties and they're good looking.
Yeah, my children are beautiful children. Here is the point. The point is, and it's not really mentioned, most of the people who are having children, some people would not like that they're having children. And that's why...
You think they're...
I don't think that's the case, but...
You skated around that very well, Lewis. And let's move on quickly and see what's on the front page of The Sun on Sunday, Nick.
Happy to. I've made mistakes, but I'm not a bad guy. That sounds like Lewis every night. It's devastated Wyn Evans, who I've totally heard of, says he was... I don't watch these shows. He was forced to apologise over his spit roast comment.
I'm glad it was a comment.
It was a comment. He said he didn't see... basically, Old Spit Roast Boy was a nickname for Jamie Borthwick. Who I don't know who that is either. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a misogynist. Lewis again. Yeah. I'm not any of these things. So this poor man has been unfairly... It's a tough thing. People go on Strictly and they always get in trouble. Because they usually cheat and they get on their wives and they get in trouble for it. Yeah. And this sounds like another Strictly issue.
Well, yeah, I've got some sympathy with, like Sean, the comedian.
Sean Walsh, a great guy.
Sean Walsh, yeah, great guy, great comedian. But he cheated on his girlfriend. But his girlfriend sounded quite annoying. And also, he's he's hip to hip with a really beautiful Russian dancer. What do you think's going to happen?
And it's happened so many times in that show that it's literally called the Strictly curse.
Yeah.
The nice woman from Countdown left her partners. They all do it. They all they do it in America as well. It's like a global curse.
It has to do with women, because women are horrible.
Well, there's something about rubbing crotches with a beautiful person that makes you more
TV,
like...
And then no one's saying
over and over for weeks.
That's why this desk is so long.
Yeah, but to keep me away from you.
Putin knows. It would never happen to him.
But here's the most important thing, and people in the red pill community understand this. He's gotten into trouble because he's so ugly. And ugly people, when you say some joke to a girl, they don't find it funny if you're ugly. If you're good looking like Leo, or going to be good looking again, like when you lose a bit of weight, Josh.
You just called me Josh, and that's worse than the weight comment. So much worse.
Because I've got hostility.
I was like, I can live with Lewis calling me fat. He's done it so many times, but now he's called me Josh. Well, that's the ultimate.
You look good. That's the point I'm making.
Well, yeah, Lewis is from the red pill community. He takes them for his angina. Anyway, we've got a couple more stories from inside the newspaper now. We've got The Independent with Alistair Campbell insisting he didn't lie about Iraq. Did his nose grow any inches while he said this, Nick?
How dare you, Leo? It's Alistair Campbell insists he and Tony Blair didn't lie over Iraq. And I, for one, believe him because he's got a lot of that Lineker podcast money. I don't want to... Me and Alistair, we're mates. And I've never met him. But he said, I get called liar a lot. Tony Blair got called liar over Iraq. I know that we didn't lie. We made a decision based upon a premise that turned out to be untrue. It's not the same as a lie.
It's kind of not far away from a lie, though.
Do you know what? I actually could have gone along with that argument because Mersheimer states, and I know this is the content people tune in for, Mersheimer states that states are rational actors, meaning that they act on credible evidence in a deliberative process, meaning that's what he's saying. We had evidence that was credible at the time, but was limited, and we acted upon it. Where he goes wrong in my book, he says then, lying is when you're expressing something you know to be untrue, so Putin knows he invaded Ukraine. But see, Mersheimer says Putin is a rational actor. So why is Campbell?
He isn't irrational.
No, he is, because he's acting on credible information and trying and prioritising the survival of his own country. Yeah. So why is Campbell acting on credible information, but Putin is just a crazy liar? Wouldn't Campbell be more credible if he said, and Putin's just doing the same? Just an idea.
That's a fair point. And I think when politicians have enough hubris and have been in power long enough, and I think Alistair Campbell and Tony Blair, they had a lot. They certainly believed they were kings of Europe.
So is he saying,
when they've got enough hubris, they believe their own propaganda, they believe their own PR, and they make ridiculous mistakes like Putin having his 3-day special military operation, or Blair and Campbell trying to liberate Iraq.
Because people look at the outcome and they say you're so stupid, but they're acting on the information they have at the time. Then they don't have no idea what the outcome's going to be. Can I just say one quick thing as well? I never believed the WMDs. I marched against the Iraq War. I just don't believe in it. Just like I didn't believe in the vaccines. I hate to be proved right every time, but.
Well, can I just say something about this? Is that he's saying that he had credible evidence that they believed. There was this premise. Yeah. But the truth is that Britain was acting because they knew George Bush wanted to invade Iraq. Because Iraq wanted to kill his daddy, and he wanted to get back at Iraq. So
it was very Star Wars.
Yes, so it had nothing to do with credible evidence. It was Tony Blair and his pal Alistair Campbell thinking we're going to get in good with the Americans, and they're going to like us.
The thing that I can't believe is that Alistair Campbell has now been rehabilitated. After everything that's gone on, Alistair Campbell has been rehabilitated as this sort of moral arbiter for British politics, and I just that's what sticks in my head.
He's got that brilliant podcast with Rory Stewart, who's really good on predictions.
Yeah.
For US elections. That's where I go to for my information.
And his daughter is a comedian. Right.
Yeah.
So
I was on a panel with her. She wasn't very funny. Let's move on and look at the Telegraph now with Islamophobia training cancelled because the trainers are, you guessed it, anti-Semitic.
Yes.
I reckon I could step in to teach these people how to be Islamophobic, Lewis.
Yes. First of all, what does that word mean, Islamophobic? But it's the Sunday Telegraph, which is £3.50 tomorrow, which is less than the Times at £4.20. Islamophobia training cancelled over teachers' anti-Semitic posts. There was these two teachers, and they had posted the typical stuff about Israel, genocide and killing and just all the horrible stuff.
And they said they made references to Zionist paymasters.
Yeah. No, these were some shocking comments. These were like Lewis's tweets after an argument with Josh. That's how bad.
But this is a Josh story. Anything to do with Islam, put it in, whatever it means. I mean, it is true. Well, what do you expect when you let in millions of people who hate the Jews?
Yeah, and I think people will say, well, not all Muslims have these attitudes and stuff. But when they do surveys of Muslims, we do actually find that their
75%.
Their views overall diverge quite radically from your average
British person.
British person, absolutely.
But how stupid are British people to let them come into the country to be this way?
Yeah, and also Zionist paymasters. I get accused of having Zionist paymasters, and
I've never given you any money.
All I can say is I want one. Can I have a Zionist paymaster? They sound brilliant.
Well,
I'll say anything.
That basically, this is what I heard, is that I think maybe, what's the guy said, Donald Murray.
Douglas Murray.
Douglas Murray. He said, whatever you say has to do with what you're thinking about yourself, whatever you're hiding.
Yeah,
right.
Projection.
So they always are what they accuse you of.
Yeah, because they're all taking money from the Iranians. They're all taking money from the Saudis to put up their little bungalow.
Lewis, have you had any offers from Zionist paymasters?
You know what? I would be a lot nicer to them if I had. No, that's what's so shocking.
OK. Well, that's it for this section.
Zionist paymaster.
I don't know idea. Coming up, we'll be giving the Express front page a quick going over, and the Independent, which has calls to bring Afghan heroes to safety after major MOD blunder. And when they say Afghan heroes, they mean young Afghan men. Good, wonderful. More people. Yeah. Coming, this is Headliners, only on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's been a bit of a drab day out there and it's going to turn increasingly wet and windy across northern areas before sunshine and showers and feeling a little bit fresher through Sunday. So taking a look at the bigger picture, we've got this area of low pressure moving in, a squeeze in the isobars indicating some strong and gusty winds. So it's an unsettled picture out there tonight with heavy spells of rain, most persistent and heaviest across Scotland, with strong gusty winds and perhaps some coastal gales. In between, there will be some clearer spells, but otherwise, generally, temperatures still holding up 10 to 12 degrees. So quite a mild start to start Sunday morning, but an unsettled start, especially across Scotland. Here we'll see the longest spells of rain, especially across northern parts of Scotland and Orkney and Shetland. Otherwise, further south, we may see some glimmers of sunshine first thing. Across Northern Ireland, it's a case of sunny spells and scattered showers through the morning. England and Wales generally much brighter than Saturday, but there is some patchy outbreaks of rain across the far southeast to start Sunday morning. That rain will clear its way through, turning drier and brighter across the southeastern parts of England, but elsewhere it is a day of sunny spells and frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers are going to be heavy, perhaps thundery, with some hail, especially across northern areas. Otherwise, for all of us, it is a fresher feel out there with a slight change in the wind direction, but in the sunshine, feeling pleasant, 22 degrees in the south and east. So generally not as mild to start Monday morning, but plenty of sunny spells to start. Then we'll see further showers across much of the country, driest across the east before further spells of rain come in to the west. And that's a similar picture on Tuesday and Wednesday, dry, mixed with sunny spells, but generally temperatures highs of 21.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/yoursay to see what you've been saying. Bernadette Page says they sexed up the notion of weapons of mass destruction in the dodgy dossier. In other words, they lied. And Mark Luscombe says, still early, but not scored Anarco-tyranny on my bingo card. Nick, do you want to talk about Anarco-tyranny briefly?
I can if you want. Coined by Samuel Francis in 1993, it's a system where criminals are let off easily while the innocent are punished.
Brilliant, very well coined.
And so what happens?
We live in it. We live in it every day.
Yeah.
Lucy Connelly happens. Alison Pearson gets investigated.
Yeah,
while a guy gets out and stabs someone on the day, Liam Matthews.
And the machete killers get released as well to make space for tweeters. Well, let's look at some more front pages. We've got the Independent here, Lewis.
Oh, the Independent. What are we up to? Oh, this one there. This is the Independent. And well, let me look for the price on the Independent here. Oh, there is no price because it's not a newspaper.
Right. It's like reading out Mumsnet.
Yeah, it's like Mumsnet or My, whatever it is. It is not a newspaper. But they say on the front page, which there is no front page, the Independent, because they're not a newspaper, is a call to bring Afghan heroes to safety after major MOD, which is Ministry of Defense blunder. Thousands under threat from Taliban had applications wrongly rejected. They said there's 2,000 of them, and we should let them into the country because, you know, we should be nice to people.
So, well, this is people who fought alongside British and American troops. I guess they'd be the Northern Alliance. They fought against the Taliban, and I guess the West did kind of abandon them. But, I mean, if you look at the history of the West, you always get abandoned at some point. Look at Ukraine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point. They're called the Triples, Leo. What does that mean? You know everything about the military.
The Triples? I don't know much about Afghanistan, except that if they're young Afghan men, they'll have some cultural traits and beliefs that might not perfectly mesh with British values.
But they were working for us to make a bit of money, and that's the only attachment that they have.
My friend was over there doing comedy for the troops, so he met some of the Northern Alliance troops, and he said, you know, so they're having this sort of, I guess, a demo, they're having a party, so the British troops are having a drink and watching some comedy. The Northern Alliance troops had a dancing boy who wore, like, eye makeup and clearly was going to be sexually assaulted by them. And he was, like, 12 years old. It's like, this is a culture that's really radically different to British culture.
I saw the movie.
That sounds like some of British culture.
What is the movie? What is the movie that I saw that's all about the Afghanis? The Kipling,
Rambo 3.
The Man Who Would Be King.
Oh, right, yeah. Let's move on and have a look at the Sunday Express, Nick.
Yeah, it's hell to pay if OAP is left out in the cold. And this is Starmer facing political failure if Winter Lifeline is not restored. He does seem to be under a bit of pressure, doesn't he, from the old party, the left of the party particularly, though this is his most radically unpopular policy. They are obviously going to reverse it. Why do you stick with it so long? I referred to this More in Common poll the other day. It's their most widely known policy and their most unpopular. It's at the very bottom right of the graph. Because there's lots of policies people don't know about, and there's some people know about that they're seen as positive. Weirdly, Great British Energy was one of those. But this is the one that's most known about and most negative.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute political loser. Even if you say it's not that much money or means testing makes sense, it's not cut through politically, so you have to ditch it.
But it's so weird because it's one of these things that was started. It was supposed to be a brief thing. It's like the pensioners get a Christmas bonus that was started like back in the 50s or something, and it was £10, and it was only supposed to be a temporary thing. But you can never take away a temporary gift.
Right.
People expect the gift every year.
It's like income tax or having to have a passport. Like those things have stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
Well, I'm against it. I'm against giving out money to old people, except to me. I was getting 3 jobs. You know what my son showed me? He showed me this amazing poll that said they asked people in this country, they asked, are you happy? Do you think Starmer is pro-immigrant?
Yeah.
Or are you against these immigrants? Well, most of the people who are on the left thinks he's against immigration.
Oh, really?
And most of the people on the right, the Reform Party people, think he's in favor of immigration.
Right.
It was such a huge diversion. That's why Keir Starmer cannot make anybody happy. And the Labour Party, along with the Tories, they're dead.
Yeah. And we've seen everything that Starmer's done to sort of tack to the right and try and scoop up some of the Reform voters. He hasn't got any Reform voters, but it has alienated Labour voters.
Yeah, he's been a genius at alienating every single group. It's incredible. It's almost every single group. And actually, I think it's unfair now, because now I think he's gone Enoch Starmer. He's got the India trade deal, which apparently was good.
Yeah.
So he's actually doing some OK things, but he's now so hated. Can't believe I just said Starmer's doing some OK things. But he's now so hated he can't win it back.
Yeah,
perhaps.
absolutely. Well, let's look inside the paper.
And Boris has had a baby.
Oh, wow.
Carrie, their 18th baby called Poppy. It's their fourth. It's their fourth. Just thought I'd better mention it because it's on the front page.
Fantastic. So congratulations to them. He's going to need to write some more books to pay for the baby.
Yes.
He's got quite a lot of them now.
He's probably got time now, hasn't he? What's he doing these days?
Well, he's not coming here. Isn't he supposed to be working here?
Well, it's lucky they're lifting the child benefit cap.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got The Observer now, and after taking women's spaces in sports, trans women are now taking disabled people's spaces in toilets, Lewis.
Oh, yes, this is in The Observer, which is not owned by The Guardian. We're going to have to check this out. Tell us if it's owned by The Guardian. But it's a real newspaper. Disabled campaigners watch in horror as trans people face toilet segregation. This is more complaining left-wing type people, Team World people. And it's a trans woman. Her name is Michaela Hollywood. I don't think that's a chosen name, Michaela Hollywood, right? And she says, you know, I'm disabled, and it's really hard to go to the bathroom, and this is going to make trans people have to go to the bathroom, and they're not all over the place. So this is bad, bad for trans people.
Yeah, and I guess there's the issue of trans people needing a third space, Nick, because some of them identify as a woman or whatever, but they don't look like a woman.
I see, yeah. Well, they're calling it horror and saying it's segregation, but if you are going to be segregated, you may as well get the best toilet, which is the disabled toilet. It's like, let's be honest, it's often like further, it's like nice on its own, more space.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Only because I use it at night because no one's here. That's
it's got the little cord, the pink cord, just in case.
Yeah, yeah.
That little bit of extra thing.
And you've pulled that because you're often in distress and you pull the cord.
You feel like you're in distress. You feel like, oh my God, I'm using the disabled toilet.
You need more fibre in your diet, Lewis.
The point about this story is that these people who are trans.
He's just gradually sort of fading out. It's the end of it, just winding down. He's got the point is women are horrible. Team World and just.
He
needs one of those vitamin injections that Biden had.
I don't want to say anything bad.
He wakes up again and goes, "Oh, women are horrible."
I remember once upon a time, trans people. You didn't have to take drugs to be a trans person. You didn't need to have surgery to be a trans person. You just went and bought a nice dress. And
I can see Lewis just waking up in a few weeks
you shaved a bit close.
Going, oh, the Telegraph, £4.50.
That's the thing. So many trans people could use whatever toilet they want if they just put more effort into their transition. But you see them, and it's like you still look like a man. And you're asking me to call you a woman? Like, why are you making me do your transition in my head? It's not my transition. I shouldn't be having to do any work in
So
this
you're
situation.
saying they should commit themselves by, through surgery and being a drug.
Well, I don't think surgery works for it. I think some of them, if you're Meatloaf, sorry, you're never going to look like a woman. So
they
just
should give
accept
up.
it.
They should give up.
Well, yeah, some people just got to accept, if you transition, you're going to look like the bassist out of Iron Maiden. You're not
Meatloaf famously would do anything for love, but he wouldn't do that.
Would he do it to use the women's toilet, though? We've got the Telegraph now, checking in on Black Lives Matter after 5 years. They didn't defund the police, but they did fund their own shopping expeditions, Nick.
Yeah, it's a kind of think piece. It's 5 years of virtue signalling the failure of Black Lives Matter, and they point out, quite sort of satirically, but also just the truth, that they achieved the exact opposite because they say we found no evidence that BLM protests led to police defunding. In fact, there was a significant increase in police budgets in cities with large Republican vote shares, at least. So it didn't really work. It led to all this DEI, inclusion, all this nonsense across the whole world. Kind of an insane moment in history, really. And I'm sorry that people will get freaked out, but if you really look at the evidence, it does seem a lot like he had an awful lot of drugs in his system. The forensics do suggest that the neck thing was not actually what killed him. Derek Chauvin probably is a victim here, if we're being really honest. And even quite mainstream people like Ben Shapiro are saying that now. So, but it led to this hysteria. You were allowed to defy COVID. The virus couldn't get you because you cared about Black Lives Matter. Insane moment in history that led to all this madness, DEI, etc.
It's amazing how the virus knew not to attack you if you're holding a Black Lives Matter placard. Even this article here, it says George Floyd dying under a police officer's knee. It's quite an interesting choice of words. It's not saying that killed him. It's saying he died under the police officer's knee.
That's like when a Telegraph doesn't want to comment on a trans person, they just keep saying their full name.
Yeah. And Liz, we've seen that so many people donated money to Black Lives Matter. Corporations donated billions. Flowed into Black Lives Matter, and a lot of it was just whisked away and spent on luxury mansions, which I totally approve of, by the way, because at least the money was going to somebody having fun.
Build large mansions.
And to helping the American economy is being built in America. Most of these, I can't imagine these people going out to France and buying a house in France. They would buy one in their local horrible community. It's horrible because it's a lie. It's a lie, but it's a lie. But who gave money? People who are willing to be lied to.
Yeah.
Did you give any money?
No, of course not.
I didn't give any money. So who gave money? Some purple-haired...
Yeah, I don't give money to little crying seals that have been clubbed to death. So I'm definitely not going to give money to...
I donated to Lucy Connelly. Am I allowed to say that, or does that make me non-impartial?
I think that's a noble thing to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Someone's got to.
OK, well, that's this section over. Coming up, we'll be seeing what our old mates at the Sunday Star are going with. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Whilst western parts of the Mediterranean are having some largely fine weather, it's a different story in the east. Here we have the risk of some heavy showers, which could bring some thunder, even some high rainfall totals, causing problems across parts of Greece, Bulgaria and into Turkey as well. Like I said, though, further west, it's a drier picture, some showery bursts around, but also a decent amount of sunshine on offer. And in the sunshine, it's going to feel pretty warm, if not hot as well.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Nigel is back.
Good evening.
Unfiltered.
Are these proposals bold enough?
Uncompromising.
Will it bring growth?
Unmissable.
We as a country are brilliant.
Nigel Farage returns. Coming soon. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
Please bring us up to date.
or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons,
Very, very curious.
we bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point.
He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
What is the state of our economy? What is the state of our National Health Service? What is the state of our schools?
What on earth is going on?
Understanding Britain means understanding the state we are in. This is State of the Nation with me, Matt Goodwin, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays from 8 p.m. on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's jump into the front page of tomorrow's Sunday Star, Nick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Star. I've been given 4 copies, so it must be really, really good. It's Ready, Sweat, Go. And what this is that Brits are getting hot under the collar for Scandi-style saunas. Public ones are popping up in record numbers, while sales of home and garden sweat boxes are booming as they become the new pub. How depressing is that? Just That's weird. Being naked with blokes in a hot, small room is the new pub.
And also, you can't drink in saunas. I tried drinking red wine in a sauna when I was on holiday, and I thought I was going to die.
But you can have a fight in one, though I don't recommend it. Lewis keeps trying to invite me to one, and I've said, no, absolutely not.
It's my flat, that's not.
It's just a hot flat.
How much is this? It's £2.20.
Yeah, it's worth every penny. Let's move on and look at the Metro now, with feminism entering its biohazard era, Nick.
Yep, that's harsh. I've embraced free bleeding when I'm on my period. And who better to give this story to than 3 known misogynists? This is Hannah Stevens. And to be fair, she's had endometriosis, and I do feel for her. But she's now free bleeding and going on about how great it is and how it's cheaper and it's environmental. She says it's environmentally friendly and freeing. I don't know how other people around her feel about it, but she doesn't.
I don't want to use a train seat after her.
I mean, you want to know something? This is a non-news story because she's into letting herself bleed without using a tampon, which you should never use a tampon. It causes this toxic shock.
I heard about this. So it speaks in here about toxic shock syndrome, which I thought was when you wake up next to Lewis Schaefer after a night on the booze.
Just shocking. But the point is that she's using her own underwear as as a pad.
Okay.
So she brings extra panties with her and wears dark trousers.
That sounds more expensive.
So it isn't like she's wearing white trousers and not using underwear.
Like in the adverts. And let's look at the Sunday Mail now, with Miss England quitting after discovering the job involves being objectified, Lewis.
Yeah, well, this is a tragedy. I didn't even realise that there are enough pretty women in this country to have a Miss England to decide who... That's not true. English women are more... As I get older, they get more and more beautiful, maybe because I'm so old. Anyway, Miss England... This is the Mail on Sunday. Miss England quits world-famous beauty pageant after she was left feeling like a prostitute who was being farmed out for entertainment. They fly her all the way out to India, and they invite her to parties, and they say, can you put on some lipstick and some eyelashes and a nice dress?
Yeah.
And she does that, and then all the men are looking at her because that's what the whole purpose of the entire thing is. And she complains, and so she does a runner, which is so English.
So these Indian men were looking at her, and she didn't like it.
She didn't like that they were looking at her. She said it's like she felt like the people who were running it were like her boss.
Right.
And
it is weird because it's meant to be like. I mean, but at least she's a woman, right?
Yes.
Isn't she? Because for a while they weren't women, weren't there? I don't really follow it that closely. I'm not Trump, but
yeah.
Do you remember the days when Trump just used to lead these things?
He owned one. He owned the Miss America.
You can go straight from that to president
Miss
now.
Universe.
Lewis didn't get that far. He ran Miss Nunhead.
Well, that's why Donald Trump is the greatest president America's ever had. Because on paper, you think not a single chance in the world.
OK. Well, the show is nearly over, so let's take another quick look at Sunday's front pages. The Sunday Times leads with Mr. Bates versus the bureaucrats. The Observer has Starmer to scrap child benefit cap. The Sunday Sun has I've made mistakes, but I'm not a bad guy. That's the Strictly guy. The Sunday Telegraph leads with Farage to outflank Starmer on benefits as reform tacked to the left. The Sunday Express has hell to pay if OAPs are left out in the cold. And the Sunday Star has ready, sweat, go. And don't forget, you can stay with us all day by saying play GB News to your smart speaker. And that's it for tonight's show. Thank you to my guests Lewis and Nick. I'll be back tomorrow night at 11 p.m. with Simon Evans and Kerry Marks. And if you're watching the 5 a.m. repeat, then stay tuned for breakfast. And I hope to see you 11 p.m. tomorrow. Have a great weekend.
Best show
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen